just to kind of review of last weekend. Just want to kind of get your thoughts and kind of what jumped out at you in terms of corrections and things you're kind of maybe harping on this week to kind of break out of that little funk.
Just some details. I look on. You always look back at what didn't go well, what did go well, and for us, I just thought our details weren't where they needed to be offensively. Being a bit more aggressive at trying to possess a puck, attack when we had options. I thought Ohio State got us out of rhythm. I thought they were good at being physical and keeping us to the outside, and our want to get to the inside wasn't what it needed to be. Then on Saturday, for the first time this season, I didn't like our pushback. When you don't reach where you want to get to on a Friday, one reason it's very difficult to sweep in this league is because human nature. Human nature is you don't get there, you've got to find a way to get there the next night. And if you did get there on a Friday, you better not be satisfied with Friday because Saturday's going to be more difficult. So that was something that we've addressed and talked about this week amongst our leadership group and really from top to bottom. And we're going to have to be better this weekend.
Mike, do you get a feeling that you'll see what your leadership and some of the veteran players are kind of made of this week when they're faced with this challenge? And I'm sure you're giving them a lot to work on, that having to go back on the road and play a good Penn State team is no easy task. You'll have to be pretty good to make something out of that.
Yeah, life in the Big Ten, as far as our league's difficult. And so a couple of things. One, you're going to have Penn State. They know what we accomplished here in our own building. They're going to try and do the same thing in their building. They just played a very talented Michigan team and had a good weekend, found a way to split. They're playing some of their best hockey right now. I think they've gotten some confidence. You look what Gads has done is, he's kind of turned it upside down a little bit and moved their lineup around. Some young guys with some veteran guys now. And I think they're feeling good about what they're doing. So for us, we've got enough on our own plate and understanding we've got to can our week and make sure that we're prepared going into a building that this will be my first time in that building, and I've heard a lot of good things. Whenever you see any video or any tape of that building, you see the students in the background and what an environment it can be. So we've got our work cut out for us, but that's what we all signed up for when we started this season. And just because you hit a little ripple in the water, you got to understand that that's part of this process, and we can learn from that, and we've got to embrace that and move on.
And as far as this week goes, it might go without saying, but there's 2 weeks left in the regular season. It's especially important to kind of start, to kind of get back on track this week, so you kind of start building momentum for next weekend and whatever might come after that.
Yeah, we've tried to be a daily type team. We can't play Friday on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And so right now, just go right back to that and be focused on what we get to control and then control it. I think some of those things just maybe weren't as tight as they needed to be. We're trying to address that on our dailies and making sure that we're dialed into what we get to control. And over time, when you talk about an 8 or a 9 month season, there's some peaks and valleys in that. And this is, as I mentioned, it's a little bit of a valley. So how are we going to react to it? What are we going to do with this opportunity that we have at going in and trying to stop what happened last weekend and start something anew? And that's what we've been focused on this week.
You've mentioned the leadership team a few times throughout the season. What do those conversations look like? Is that a normal thing for you guys to sit down after each weekend and reassess things as a coaching staff and a leadership group, or what do those conversations look like after a game weekend?
Yeah, they do. We try to, again, trying to stay consistent. I think the best thing we can do as a staff is message that. If you have a great weekend, you learn from it, you move on. If you have a weekend that maybe you didn't accomplish what you wanted to accomplish, you go back, you look at it, you communicate, you talk about it, you say, okay, here's our plan going forward. We can't change what happened on Friday and Saturday back in Columbus. We can change what happens going forward, and that's what this group's done a good job of. So, yeah, we continue to talk to the leadership group. They've been a group that has allowed us to be in the position that we're in. And so we're going to continue to lean on them, continue to trust them, and understand that there, like I said, there are good days and some not so good days. And so we're going to learn from both and turn the page and move on. Nobody's feeling sorry for the Badgers because they didn't get it done on Friday or Saturday. And Ohio State earned it. And so now we've got to be okay going and earning our week and the opportunity to compete on Friday.
You mentioned that guys changed his lineup around. How much of that can you do without some pieces that are pretty critical to your lineup? And I wonder maybe if you can go through the report on maybe 4 guys out now. Is that accurate? 22, 24, 18, 3. It seems like it's piling up there.
Yeah, I mean, you can look and take a pick of anybody in any sport at this time. There's bumps and bruises. Nobody's 100% healthy. The guys that you're talking about, I would say 3 and 18 will be unavailable. The other 2 are day-to-day. They're back in the mix. So we'll continue with that, and I'll do my job on the X's and O's, and what we have out in the rink, and we've got to put first, which we always do, is the health and wellness of our student athletes. So those are going in good directions with the other 2. So opportunity, and you know, there's been times during the week, during this year, where I've had guys knock on the door and say, "Where's mine? I need a few more minutes. I'd like to have some opportunities to play in this situation or that situation." The opportunities are there right now. So one thing we've talked about from day one is everybody matters. And when you have guys go in and out of the lineup, everybody does matter. And I think we're seeing that right now. So we're just asking the guys to take advantage of their opportunities, try and help them be as prepared as they can be when that puck drops on Friday.
I think one of the things that came out of last weekend you mentioned is that there were too many good chances on Kyle, maybe relying on Kyle in a couple of too many spots. Is that one of the details you talk about, is making sure you're picking up where you're supposed to be in the D zone and being strong in that area? And how do you go about reinforcing that this week, I guess, against a Penn State team that we know shoots from everywhere?
Well, we'll have to be aware of it. And we talked about that when they came to our building. It's something that I think gets talked about in every press conference for a team that's going to be playing Penn State. They're a volume shooting hockey team, and especially in their building. And so with that, yeah, we've addressed what we have to do and what we need to be aware of. But to answer your first question, absolutely, tape doesn't lie. You know, and so there's multiple times throughout the season we've shown highlight goals. We've shown very great individual efforts, how we've defended as a group. I thought we lost a little bit of that last week. We were a little leaky. Didn't protect the middle of the rink. You saw 2 of the goals that they scored were inside the dots in our own zone. So yes, those are teachable moments. They hurt. Those are the ones that have a tendency to stay with you a little bit longer, and it's something we need to learn from.